There are moments in life when the pain feels too personal to explain, too deep to share, and too heavy to carry in front of others. You smile outside, but inside there is a storm. You speak normally, but your heart is quietly breaking. And perhaps the hardest part is this: no one really knows what you're going through, but Allah knows every tear you hide, every sleepless night, every silent dua whispered in the darkness. None of it goes unnoticed. What you are experiencing right now is not random, and it is not meaningless. There is a wisdom unfolding behind the scenes, even if you cannot yet see it, because sometimes the healing Allah prepares for you is so azim that it first requires a test that humbles you, reshapes you, and brings you closer to Him in ways you never expected. The pain you carry quietly is often the heaviest of all, because it lives in the spaces no one else can reach. It sits behind your smiles, hides within your silence, and lingers in the moments when you are alone with your thoughts. People see you functioning, speaking, even laughing at times, but they do not see the weight pressing against your chest when the day ends, or the thoughts that keep you awake when the world goes to sleep. This kind of pain teaches you how to appear strong, even when you feel like you are breaking inside, and over time you become so used to hiding it that even expressing it begins to feel unfamiliar. There are battles you fight that no one applauds, struggles you endure that no one acknowledges, and tears you wipe away before anyone even notices they were there. You may have reached a point where explaining your pain feels exhausting, because you fear being misunderstood or dismissed, so you choose silence instead. Not because you are okay, but because you no longer know how to translate what you feel into words. And in that silence, your heart begins to speak a language only Allah fully understands. It is in these private moments that your connection with Allah becomes something deeper, something more sincere. When there is no audience, no validation, no expectation from people, what remains is your raw, unfiltered state before your Creator. You call upon Him not because you want to be heard by others, but because you need to be heard by the one who already knows. And even when your words fail you, your heart continues to speak, your tears continue to make dua, and your silence itself becomes a form of communication that reaches the samawat. You may feel invisible at times, as though your pain does not matter because no one sees it. But the reality is that what is hidden from nas is never hidden from Allah. Every moment of tahmil, every second of patience, every effort to hold yourself together when you feel like falling apart, all of it is seen, all of it is counted, and none of it is wasted. The dunya may not recognize your struggle, but Allah, in His infinite knowledge and mercy, is fully aware of every detail. And sometimes the reason your pain is hidden is because it is meant to build something within you that could not be built in the presence of others. There are lessons that only solitude can teach, strength that only silence can develop, and sincerity that only grows when it is just you and Allah. In those moments where you feel most alone, you are actually being brought closer to a level of understanding, patience, and reliance that cannot be achieved through ease or comfort. The hidden nature of your pain does not make it any less significant. In fact, it often makes it more powerful because it shapes you from the inside out. It refines your character, softens your heart, and teaches you to depend on Allah in a way that public struggles rarely do. And while people may never fully understand what you have gone through, Allah not only understands it, He is the one who allowed it, measured it, and is guiding you through it with wisdom that goes beyond what you can currently comprehend. There is something profoundly powerful about the struggles you endure when no one is watching, because those are the moments that shape the reality that will eventually be seen. When you are tested in private, when your patience is stretched in silence, when your heart is learning to trust Allah without any external reassurance, you are being prepared for something far greater than what you can currently perceive. The world often celebrates visible success, but it rarely acknowledges the hidden sacrifices, the unseen tears, and the quiet perseverance that made that success possible. You may find yourself asking why your journey feels so isolated, why your hardships are not understood, or why you are being tested in ways that seem to go unnoticed by others. But what you are going through is not meant for nas to validate, it is meant for Allah to elevate. Because when something is built in secrecy between you and your Creator, it carries a sincerity that cannot be replicated in public. It is pure, unfiltered, and deeply rooted in your reliance on Him alone. Every moment you choose patience over frustration. Every time you hold back tears and turn them into silent doers, every instance where you resist the urge to give up even when no one would blame you for doing so, all of these are seeds being planted. And seeds do not grow instantly. They remain buried for a time, hidden beneath the surface, unseen and often forgotten by the world. But beneath that surface, something is happening. Roots are forming, strength is developing, and life is preparing to emerge in a way that will eventually be visible. The same applies to your struggles. What you are enduring right now is not just about surviving the moment. It is about preparing you for what is to come. Allah is shaping your character, strengthening your iman, and refining your qalb so that when the time comes for your ease, for your healing, for your elevation, you will be able to carry it with humility and gratitude. Because without the private test, the public blessing would not have the same depth, nor would it have the same meaning. There is also a protection in what is hidden. Not everything is meant to be exposed immediately, and not every blessing is meant to arrive without preparation. Sometimes Allah keeps your struggles private because He is protecting your journey from su'al fahm, from envy, or even from your own impatience. He allows you to grow quietly, to develop resilience without distraction, and to build a connection with Him that is not influenced by the opinions or expectations of others. And when the time of ease finally arrives, when Allah chooses to reveal your healing, your strength, or your success, it will not just be a moment of relief, it will be a testimony of what it means to trust Allah in silence, to remain patient when there is no audience, and to continue believing even when everything around you suggests otherwise. What was once hidden will become visible, not for the sake of showing others, but as a reflection of Allah's mercy and the journey He took you through, transforming your private struggles into something that carries light, meaning, and purpose for both you and those who witness it. There are moments when the delay feels heavier than the hardship itself, when you are not only struggling but also questioning why relief has not yet arrived. You make dua, you try to stay patient, you attempt to hold on to hope, but deep inside there is a quiet thought that keeps returning. If Allah hears me, then why is nothing changing? And this is where many hearts begin to feel a subtle distance, not because Allah has moved away, but because intidhar has become difficult to carry. But Allah is never ignoring you, not even for a second. His knowledge encompasses every detail of your situation, every thought that crosses your mind, every emotion that rises and falls within your chest. The delay you are experiencing is not a sign of rejection. It is a sign that something greater is being arranged in a way you cannot yet see. Because if everything came to you exactly when you wanted it, in the form you expected, you would never realize how much wisdom exists in divine timing. Sometimes what you are asking for is not denied, it is being redirected. And sometimes it is not even being delayed, it is being prepared. Prepared in a way that aligns not only with your current needs, but also with your future, your growth, and your akhirah. You may be focusing on a single outcome, believing it to be the solution to your pain, while Allah, in His infinite knowledge, is shaping something far more beneficial, something that will not just ease your moment, but elevate your entire path. The feeling of being overlooked often comes from measuring Allah's response based on immediate results. You look at your situation and expect a visible change, a clear sign, a quick answer. But Allah's response is not always immediate in appearance. Sometimes it is unfolding in layers, quietly transforming your circumstances, your mindset, and your heart without you even realizing it. What feels like stillness on the surface may actually be movement beneath it, a process that requires time, precision, and wisdom. There is also a rahmah in delay that you may not fully understand right now. Because if certain umur came to you too early, you might not have been ready for them. You might have mishandled them, taken them for granted, or even been harmed by them. So Allah, in His care for you, withholds not to deprive you but to protect you. He allows time to pass so that when what is meant for you arrives, it comes at a moment when you can truly appreciate it, handle it, and benefit from it in the way it was intended. And within this waiting, something important is happening inside you. Your reliance on Allah is being strengthened, your patience is being deepened, and your understanding of trust is evolving beyond just words into a lived experience. You are learning what it means to continue believing even when you do not see immediate results, to keep turning to Allah even when your situation appears unchanged, and to hold on to certainty even when doubt tries to creep in. The silence you feel is not absence, and the delay you are experiencing is not neglect. It is a carefully measured process, designed with wisdom that goes beyond your current perspective, guiding you step by step towards something that will eventually make sense in a way that words cannot fully capture. There are moments when you feel completely shattered, as if something inside you has broken in a way that cannot be repaired. It is not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it is quiet, subtle, and deeply internal. A heaviness that sits in your chest, a loss of motivation, a feeling that you are no longer the same person you once were. You try to hold yourself together, but there are parts of you that feel like they have already fallen apart. And you begin to wonder if this brokenness is a sign that something has gone wrong in your life. But what if this breaking is not the end of you, but the beginning of something being rebuilt? Because often, healing does not start from a place of strength. It starts from a place of vulnerability, where you are forced to confront what you have been ignoring, what you have been suppressing, and what you have been carrying for far too long. The cracks you feel within yourself are not always meant to destroy you. Sometimes they are there to expose what needs attention, what needs tandhif, and what needs to be released so that something healthier can take its place. When everything feels intact, it is easy to overlook the deeper issues within the heart. You continue moving, continuing living, without realizing that certain thoughts, attachments, or habits are slowly weighing you down. But when you experience brokenness, it interrupts that pattern. It forces you to pause, to reflect, and to reassess your connection with Allah, with yourself, and with the dunya around you. It brings you to a point where you can no longer rely on distractions, and you are faced with your reality in its most honest form. And in that state, something powerful begins to happen. You turn to Allah not out of routine, but out of genuine need. Your dua is no longer just words. It becomes emotion, sincerity, and dependence. You begin to realize that your strength was never truly yours to begin with, and that your qulub finds its true stability only when it is connected to the one who created it. The very thing that made you feel weak becomes the reason you draw closer to Allah in a way you never have before. Brokenness also reshapes your perspective. It softens your heart, making you more compassionate, more understanding, and more aware of the struggles of others. It removes a certain gurur, a sense of self-sufficiency, and replaces it with humility. You begin to see life differently, to value things you once overlooked, and to let go of things you once held on to so tightly. What once felt like a loss slowly transforms into a lesson, and what once felt like an end begins to reveal itself as a transition. There is also a hidden strength that develops within this process, not the loud, visible kind of strength that people often admire, but a quiet resilience that allows you to keep going even when things are difficult. A strength that is built through patience, through trust, and through repeatedly choosing to stand back up even when you feel like staying down. This kind of strength is not created overnight. It is formed through moments of struggle, moments of doubt, and moments where you continue forward despite not having all the answers. And while it may feel like you are losing parts of yourself, in reality, you are being stripped of what was never meant to define you. Layers of dharf, unhealthy attachments, and misplaced reliance are being removed so that your foundation can be rebuilt on something stronger, something more lasting. What feels like emptiness is often space being created for something better, something purer, something that aligns more closely with who you are meant to become. The process of breaking is not comfortable, and it is not easy to understand while you are in it, but it carries within it a wisdom that only becomes clear over time, as you begin to see how what once hurt you so deeply played a role in shaping your healing, your growth, and your return to Allah in a way that is more sincere, more grounded, and more real than anything you had experienced before. There are countless moments when you raise your hands, when your club feels heavy, and your words struggle to come out the way you want them to. Sometimes your duas are clear and specific, and other times they are nothing more than a feeling, a quiet hope, or even a tear that falls without explanation. You may wonder if those imperfect words, those broken expressions are enough. You may question whether they are reaching Allah in the way you intend. But what you must understand is that no sincere call upon Allah is ever lost. No matter how small it may seem to you, every dua you have made, whether whispered in the darkness of the night or thought silently in the middle of a busy day, is mahfuz. It is preserved with a precision and care that goes beyond your imagination. You may forget some of the things you asked for. You may even lose hope in certain requests over time, but Allah never forgets. Not a single word, not a single intention, not even the emotions behind those words are overlooked. They are all known, all recorded, and all handled with wisdom that you cannot yet fully comprehend. There are times when you expect your du'as to be answered in a direct and immediate way, and when that does not happen, it can feel as though nothing is changing. But the response to your dua is not always something you can immediately recognize. Sometimes the answer is being prepared, sometimes it is being delayed for a better time, and sometimes it is being transformed into something different but far more beneficial for you. What you see as silence may actually be a process of careful arrangement, where every detail is being aligned in a way that will eventually make sense. Your du'as are not just requests, they are acts of ibadah, moments of connection where you are turning to Allah with sincerity and need. Even before the outcome appears, the very act of making dua brings you closer to Him. It softens your heart, strengthens your reliance, and reminds you that no matter how difficult your situation becomes, there is always a door open between you and your Creator. This connection itself is a form of mercy, a reminder that you are never truly alone in what you are facing. And there is a depth to your du'as that goes beyond the words you speak. Sometimes your heart carries desires that you cannot fully articulate, needs that you cannot clearly define, and pain that you cannot completely explain. But Allah understands all of it. He understands what you mean even when you do not say it. And He knows what is best for you even when you are unsure of what to ask for. This is why your du'as are not simply being stored. They are being handled with a level of care and knowledge that ensures their outcome will be in your best interest. There may also be moments when you feel tired of asking, when it feels like you have repeated the same dua so many times that it has lost its meaning. But repetition does not reduce the value of your dua, it increases it. It shows persistence, sincerity, and a qalb that refuses to give up on Allah's mercy. Each time you ask, you are reaffirming your belief that Allah is capable of changing your situation, no matter how impossible it may seem. And that belief, that continued turning back to Him, is something that carries immense weight. What you must hold on to is the certainty that your du'as are not disappearing into emptiness. They are being gathered, preserved, and responded to in ways that align with a wisdom far greater than your own perspective. Whether the answer comes in the form you expect or in a way you never imagined, it will always carry within it a purpose, a benefit, and a mercy that reflects Allah's knowledge of what you truly need. Even in the moments when you feel uncertain, unheard, or overwhelmed by the silence around you, and after everything you have been through, after the silent struggles, the unseen tears, the long nights filled with questions and dua, you begin to realize that none of it was random, none of it was wasted, and none of it was ignored. Every moment of pain carried in private was shaping something within you. Every delay was aligning something beyond you. Every excess of brokenness was clearing the way for a qalb that is stronger, softer, and more connected to Allah than ever before. You were never abandoned in your hardship. You were being guided through it, even when you could not see the tariq clearly. What you experienced in silence was never meant to remain there forever. The healing that Allah prepares does not always arrive loudly, but when it comes, it transforms you in ways that people will eventually notice. Not because you sought recognition, but because the athar of Allah's mercy cannot be hidden. The nafs that once struggled quietly begins to find peace. The heart that once felt heavy begins to feel light, and the person who once questioned begins to understand. You start to see that what hurt you was also what built you. What delayed you was also what protected you. What broke you was also what brought you closer to Allah. And in that realization, there is a deep sense of sakina that settles within you, a calm that is not dependent on perfect circumstances, but on trust in the one who controls all circumstances. So if you are still in that place of private pain, still carrying something no one else understands, know that your story is still unfolding. What you cannot see right now is still being written with wisdom, with care, and with mercy. And the same Allah who saw you in your lowest moments is qadir to raise you in ways you never expected, to heal you in ways you never imagined, and to replace your struggles with a peace that reaches deeper than the pain ever did. Because in the end, your private pain was never the nihayat of your story. It was the beginning of a healing that Allah was preparing all along.